Now, I don't know if most people would be alarmed by somebody who seems like a psychopath coming at them and saying, we had these conversations, don't you remember having these conversations? Everybody else would just be, anybody else probably would just be whatever. And I mean, I was disregarding of it. But then I was like, oh, there's something here, something that feels really familiar. Did I indeed do something really bad? Was I wrong? Because my desire was to get him to stop hurting. This wasn't even about me. I didn't think it was about me gaining recompense. It was about him continuing this chain of hurting people that started with his ex, common law marriage partner of 20 years. Went to another woman and then to me. Several little flings over the internet. He really was a heartbreaker. And then finally, this woman that he called his fiancée. And I just saw him doing the same thing that he did to me. And I'm like, this has to stop. So, but then when she comes to me as Cheryl, and now is saying that she had this conversation with me, and I did ask the fiancé to teach Jeannie a lesson, to show him what he does to other people, in essence, to show him his shadow. I knew I had that conversation with the fiancé. I didn't realize that by me saying Cheryl would know, that was me telling her to basically go kill. And that's in essence what she's saying. Because there's a good possibility that the fiancé is no longer alive. And 2 weeks ago, though, I actually did think that she had died, and I thought she was existing now in a state of being brain dead. Because I had a very distinct communication with her where she wanted to give up. She was done with life and was ready to move on, and asked if she could come in as my second child, the girl child, because until then, see, I didn't have consciousnesses for these children. I mean, they may very well have had consciousnesses before, but it wasn't even until I became aware of or even acknowledged them and started speaking to them that then two individuals die, and I just felt like they were part of me now as my children, my twins, unborn twins. One was my biological father, and the other was this gal, the fiancé. And the thing is she's telling me extensively that she's going to be born with autism. And I said, well, is this my fault? And she says, no, I mean, they might tell you that it has to do with that you didn't know that you were pregnant, or you didn't have proper nutrition, but this is my decision to come in this way. But it's going to be a very severe form of autism. And this is going to take you to an entirely new level with your study of psychology. And you and I are going to work together to really, in essence, create this new brand of psychology, new branch of psychology that has to deal with shadow work that you were so desirous of creating when you first left paradise. I mean, so she and I were having this whole long conversation. So a week later, the day before yesterday, I find out not only is she alive, but now she is jumping into this thread. And see, Cheryl had been attacking things, but I didn't know that Cheryl was the fiancé. Now the fiancé actually comes into the thread and says the engagement's over. I can't take this anymore. You obviously love Papillion, and we're done. So now he's blaming me Because I had the audacity to state my emotions. I should have just shut up and been quiet according to him, because I ruined his life. Honestly, the way that she just like acquiesced, just gave up, and then all of a sudden she was being really nice to me. Cheryl was being really nice to me, was no longer attacking me and saying this sardonic stuff about how she and I had planned all this and that I was the mastermind behind bringing everyone down. So, but now she's changed her tune, and Cheryl is actually now comforting me because I'm upset. The day before she wanted to call me a psychopath, and now she's comforting me. And honestly, so it's just like, this has all become really confusing now. And I see Jeannie, I'm seeing this vacillation within him that has been occurring for me these past few months. But I'm seeing it now happen rapidly within him, and he's going between me and the fiancé, And I just knew that some entity was manipulating things. And I kept demanding of Cheryl, who are you? And, you know, she wouldn't answer me other than, you know. So, I mean, I'm like going over this in my head the past couple of days, yesterday and today. Who is she? Why did she keep saying this? And then it gets even more confusing when the next day the fiancé comes on and just totally gives up, and is nice to me. And then suddenly Cheryl is nice to me. And they're both acknowledging that what Jeannie did was not right. And that I do have a right to be human and have hurt feelings. So, wow. I just knew that there was an entity involved here. So now I'm wondering if it's Brittany. If I did indeed plan some things. I mean, I know I asked for help in bringing him down, or showing him his ways, what he was doing. But I feel evil now. I feel like I did something wrong. Because I'm trying to stop somebody that is causing a lot of harm in this world. I don't think that it's wrong. Are police officers wrong for enforcing the law? In many ways, it's like I'm enforcing a cosmic justice here. But yet I'm allowing all these pseudo-spiritual people to tell me that I'm wrong because I'm interfering with the person's free will. Hypocrites. And you know, this all comes down to spiritual people want to keep telling me, and I had two spiritual friends that I kind of just considered sisters in this journey, because they seemed to actually understand where I was coming from. And yesterday, I mean, I've been separating from them the past year. But yesterday, they both gave me such banal advice. Advice that is so far behind me. They are so far behind me. I didn't realize that I had gotten so far ahead of them in my development because of the tenacity I have, and I just was digging really deep into all this stuff, and they still want to continue to be triggered. They still want to continue to think that it's somebody else's problem. You know, there's religious shadow work, where shadow work is done by the book, and basically you think that everybody else still has the problem while you're really good and awesome because you've embraced your shadows. So in many ways, a lot of spiritual people are religious too. They're Pharisees. And then there's spiritual shadow work. Somebody was telling me the other day that this individual named Les Brown defined the difference between religious people and spiritual people. And religious people are really big on decrying to everyone else that they're going to some form of hell, or that they're going to be judged, or that they're doing something wrong, or something like that. He says, the spiritual person says, I'm not afraid of hell. I've been to hell. I've survived, and I'll go back again if necessary to figure something out. So I realize this is the difference between religious shadow work and spiritual shadow work. And I am a very spiritual person, because I repeatedly throw myself into hell so I could find my way out. And I didn't realize that by doing this, I was actually progressing myself at practically like warp speed. Because I was so dedicated this past year to just completely eviscerating and burning away any part of me that was conditioning or holding me back, or repeated patterns that I developed sometime in childhood or maybe in a past life and I just kept repeating. So they're giving me advice yesterday that I just consider to be so below me. And I'm like, I'm arrogant. Wow, how could I even say this? But it was true. And in that moment, I literally was in essence saying, get behind me, Satan. You have no place in what I'm doing right now. This is a big battle that is going on, and you have no idea the stakes here. In that moment, I took charge of who I am. And just, I'm telling the idiots, get out of my way, all of you. I have got something to figure out. And so my thoughts the past 24 hours or so have been preoccupied with who is this entity. And it wasn't until I started creating these videos I really started figuring this out. This entity is Brittany. Brittany is a trickster energy, and she was trying to get me to find my roots and to find my power. She's trying to get me to reconnect with my twin, trying to get me to fix a lot of things that had to go bad in that lifetime to protect the lineage. But the lineage needs to be born now. The lineage needs to rebirth or come out. It's time for the lineage of Jesus to come back and populate the world. And I carry one of those seeds. I mean, many were planted. My DNA carries one of those strands. And despite medical things, like 5 different tests telling me I'm not pregnant, I am probably spiritually pregnant, or these twins are really good at hiding at 6 months and don't want anybody to know they're there except me. And I sound like I'm crazy. If it's not now, I will be bearing twins sometime in the near future through Jeannie. And right now that doesn't make any sense, because right now we seem to be at incredible odds with each other. But I do see him as part of my life. And I'm not going to say that's wishful thinking. I've had too many visions around that man for me to say that that was all just chance or wishful thinking. So, alright, I'm going to end this video now and see where else my thoughts decide to go.